Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As y'all can see by the title of today's video, we got a really cool topic. We're ranking all the point guard pie charts in tiers E through S. What I'm going to do, I got them all in their little section down here. I'm just going to click and drag into the corresponding area. We're going to start at E, work our way up to D, C, go to B, A, and S. So anyway, if y'all enjoy the video, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all that good stuff. If we can get this to 1,000 likes too, I will bring y'all the big man video on top of that. And obviously it's the same pie charts no matter what, but obviously something like pure slash probably works a lot better as a big man than a point guard. So just understand, as far as where I'm ranking these, it's more so its functionality as far as running as a point guard position. But don't get me wrong, I'm not discrediting defense at all in this video. We're still going to value everything. I'm just flat out saying the best point guard pie charts you can make. So anyway, if y'all enjoy the video, like I said, feel free to drop a like. And without further ado, let's get straight into this. Coming in the E tier, we're going to have two of these revealed. We got the slash lock right here, and then we have the pure lockdown as well. So, like I said, as far as the functionality of these pie charts go, I think they're pretty good. On top of that too, if you ever wanted to make a wing pure lock or a wing slash lock, I would recommend to still make it a point guard because you unlock things like dimer and floor general. You get better badge spread points on all your stuff. I just think point guard builds are better to make if you're making it to be a wing player like a shooting guard or small forward, and if you want it to be around 6'6", because that's obviously the height cap that you have. But as long as your build doesn't have the actual playmaking in it like this one, I definitely recommend to make your build a point guard if it's going to be 6'6" or below. But again, just in terms of the functionality as a point guard, obviously neither of these builds really function all that well. Now obviously both these pie charts lack shooting and playmaking quite a bit, and you may be asking like, yo Lake, don't you literally have a pure lock point guard? Here's the thing y'all, again, this is not about how good is a point guard pure lock, it's about how good can you run point guard with a pure lock. So just understand that's the whole premise of this video, and I want you guys to really get that through your mind early on, just so you're not like questioning where I'm putting some of these as well. But anyway, they're both very good pie charts. You could be a really good corner spot up with both of these and still shoot really well with 4 or I think 7 or 8 shooting badges with this build, but you get contact dunks on both of them on top of that as well. But like I said, the functionality of just running as a point guard with both these pie charts is very minimal. It lacks shooting and playmaking really poorly, and just to be able to shoot from the top of the key on an ISO even at that point would be a struggle. So anyway, moving along to the D tier, we have the play slash pie chart, and then we have the pure slash pie chart as well. So as you can see, as far as being a point guard, I'm not a big fan of the slasher play type. Now me personally, I am obviously a slasher, but like that's what I mainly use. But for that to be a point guard or an undersized, like, you know, player, it's not the best thing. I feel like to function in this game properly as a slasher, you do need to be a bit bigger and able to set screens when the time comes, because when you have to be in this situation where you have to shoot wide open and stuff like that, and if you're not really nice with it, this is the only build that really has true shooting ability in my opinion of all three of these right here. This one has okay, and that's why these two are a little bit higher. But as far as this goes, it's hard to build this build right with the proper defense, and it's just a tough pie chart to really master. And then the pure slash one, honestly, there's not too much point of being a pure slash in 2K20 where, you know, you have pie charts like this or this, where, or even this one that's obviously like way more elite, where you can still get Hall of Fame finishing badges and contact dunks, but have a lot more to your game than this pie chart right here. So again, just to emphasize, we have the D tier right here, we got the E right here, and now we're going to move along to the C. So this is where it starts to get interesting. You can make a couple different points as far as which ones I'm putting to this point. Now, here's my opinion on the pure sharp. There's just not too much reason to be a pure sharp because I feel like the play sharp pie chart is just literally better in every situation. You do get more shooting badges, but on top of that, I don't think you need more than the 21 or 22 that you're given with play sharp anyway. So again, C tier pure sharp is more so just about the fact that there's a lot better options out there than this one, but it still does function a lot better as a point guard than any of these right here. It lacks speed and defense quite a bit. You can still get pretty good defensive badges on this build. I believe if you make it a point guard, you get 11-ish or so, and the ratings don't really compare to these right here. The athleticism doesn't compare to anything on this list. But again, as far as its functionality goes as a point guard, it's definitely above these ones right here. Now I will say, these two go hand in hand as far as this one can't really ISO all that well, and this one can't run any pick and roll as very well in my opinion. Now, when you compare the two, obviously being able to run pick and roll as a point guard is still pretty important, and on top of that too, like, the ability to shoot the ball is just ridiculous with this one. If you make it a point guard, you still get gold dimer, you still get gold floor general. It's not going to be too big a hit. It's just you're going to lack a little bit in the playmaking area. The defense is going to be a little bit poor, but it's still manageable. And like I said, if you go with the playmaking on top of that too, you're probably going to have literally nothing on finishing, unless maybe you have driving dunk just to be able to dunk when you're wide open. But again, if you build this build, I would say you have to embrace the fact that you play with an inside big man and don't touch your finishing at all, because ISO is not really an option with this build. Now, like I said, that's where obviously that knocks this build down to the C tier right here. And then when we move along to the B, we got two builds that are, one is very capable of ISO, the other still has it in it a little bit, but it still relies on the pick and roll or pick and pop, definitely. So anyway, moving along to the B tier, we have the pure Playmaker pie chart. And then a lot of y'all may question where I put this build on this list right here, but I'm gonna put the two-way sharp at the B tier. The reason I have this build in the B tier, a month and a half ago when the behind the back got nerfed, I feel like this build right here saw a massive improvement because you get around 84 to 85 ball control even at your max 99.9 ability at 6'4 minimum wingspan. Now, I would recommend don't even make it like that in the first place because, like I said, ball control is not the biggest deal as far as running like pick and roll or, you know, having really good dribble moves anymore. Nowadays, it's going to be a lot more built on using screens, moving laterally, you know, using your speed to get you open rather than your dribble moves. And I just feel like when you make it at a tall height, long wingspan, you bring some really good defense and you can really hang with a lot of these ISO point guards and really like actually defend them really well. And on top of that, like I said, the playmaking is not too bad. You still get around 14, I believe. I would embrace the fact that you are not really meant for the ISO life and not really upgrade your finishing all that much. But if you like to run with another rim sharp and you want to just run two green and red pie charts, then maybe I would say balance your build properly to where you actually have good finishing, because this build does get around 78 driving dunk at 95, I think, and on top of that, obviously that means at 99.9 you get like almost even contact dunk range. You don't quite get contact dunks, but like I said, it's still a very good finishing build. It's a really all-around point guard build if you want to make it like that, but I would say if you lack just the finishing, it would allow you to be great at the defense, shooting, and playmaking, and just kind of embrace that role. But anyway, moving along to the pure play. Obviously this one is built on ISO. You can still run pick and roll with it. Pick and pop is still very good as well because this build is meant to drive. I'll put it like that. And on top of that, it's really only elite at 99.9 in my opinion when you get all of the contact dunks. But like I said, this build is meant to drive. It's meant to be fast. It's meant to put the pressure on the defense and really force switches. And on top of that, obviously, like the great playmaking badges too. And you know, it's really quick with the right takeover. It's really tough to guard, especially with the play take, and it's hard to like stay on these dudes. And at Legend even, it's got like crazy badge spread as well. Now, again, this is a hard one to kind of figure out how to make. You're gonna want to like make it pretty all around, as far as like have solid finishing, solid shooting, and solid defense. I think shooting you'll take to the max ability. Finishing, that's kind of iffy, and defense you're going to want pretty high too, because like I said, this game is built around ISO and driving point guards nowadays. And if you don't have like block or interior defense rating on your point guard now, and if you're like below 6'4", I feel like you're at a loss when it comes to 2v2, and you're just kind of stuck in that situation. So anyway, again, to speak to how good the pure play is, it's very good, especially in the ISO situation. It doesn't really work the best as far as like with an inside big man, but if you have a pick and pop big, like a rim sharp, kind of like this pie chart right here, then it fits pretty good. But again, just keep that in mind. It's mostly all ISO. So anyway, moving along to the A tier. We have the BP build, aka the slash sharp, and then we have the play sharp as well. Now this build right here, honestly, these were two builds that were top tier. They were the best point guard builds in the game when the behind the back was still in it, and they are still top tier point guards as well, especially for 3v3 court. Now here's where these builds kind of go wrong. All right, obviously the defense on these two is probably the worst of any of them, just because with the BP, you need to upgrade finishing, you need to upgrade shooting, and obviously you're going to want playmaking if you're a top tier point guard. So it's very tough to find the right situation for upgrading defense. This one's a little bit easier to like kind of find your way into it because you don't really need the finishing to really, you know, prosper on this build the best. You can just go all in on playmaking, shooting, and defense, and really just use the leftover scraps for driving dunk or driving layup, whichever one you want the most. This build right here is the true epitome of being able to run with an inside big man. It just complements it so well with the speed and shooting, and it could still fit into a pick and pop offense really well, and you could still ISO with this, but the finishing ability on this is very minimal. Now there's two different ways you could go with this build. You could do it like I was telling you, where you just upgrade defense, you don't really touch shooting very much, or you could do what a lot of these comp stage 3s point guards do and don't even touch defense at all. I don't recommend to do it, but a lot of people still do it. So they don't even touch defense at all, upgrade their finishing, shooting, and playmaking all the way, and run with rim sharps as their big man. If somebody plays them too tight, they just drive If somebody doesn't play like, you know, tight enough, then they'll just pull, or maybe you can force the switch, get a big man on you, and start cooking up for 3-pointers. It's really a very simple build, but where you go between these two right here is determined on what courts you want to play on. I would say if you go all defense, you can fit into anything. If you go no defense at all, you don't fit in on the twos at all. You are going to get you're going to get exposed. All right, I'm going to put it like that. Now moving along the BP build. You have two ways you can go about this build. You could be committed to being balanced, where you have lower finishing, lower shooting, solid playmaking so that you can have decent defense, or you can go about it like I was saying with this build, like some people do, where you have absolutely no defense, you go all in on playmaking, shooting, and finishing. And like I said, the only time that you're going to fit in with a build like that is on 3v3, and you're going to be really like disappointed if you ever try to touch the twos court with no defense. So I'm just explaining it to y'all like that. I would say don't go any lower than 6'4" with this build. I think you lose the ability to get contact dunks at like, I think you have to be like 99.9 to be able to get it with anything lower than 6'4", and even at that, I don't know, 6'5" is the sweet spot for point guard builds in my opinion. You get really good interior defense, and like I said, this game is so built around driving point guards, and just keep all that in mind. So again, the best way I would recommend to go about making this is to be balanced, go around 15 shooting, 15 finishing, and then like 14 playmaking, maybe 13 playmaking, and that'll leave you the room to get, I think, 9 or 10 defensive badges. And like I said, you're gonna want to really emphasize interior defense, and it's just hard to build this build properly to, you know, be in the right situation. So anyway, moving along to the S tier. Here is where we got the best point guard build in the game, in my opinion. The only limit to this build is that you can't really run, you know, with an inside big man with it. This one is pretty much restricted to ISO or running with rim sharps, running pick and pop. But as far as what it brings to the table, you know, it's just insane. You get really good finishing badges. There's no struggle in making the build. I'm gonna put it like that. You can get really good finishing badges. You get around 10 shooting badges. If you can shoot with this build, that's what makes it S tier. Now, I want y'all to really keep in mind, this is a tough one to work with. It's kind of like this build, but just it's like cracked out brother, basically. It's just insane. I mean, this build, it's about what you would expect that people would do with this, but this one obviously lacks the defense really badly, and this one is a defensive nightmare. It's honestly the best lockdown build in the game other than the pure lock, but the pure lock is hard to fit in anywhere on your offense. This one, super fast, can speed boost, all that stuff, shoots a lot more decently than any of these other ISO builds down here. And what it brings to the table as far as finishing, you get contact dunks. Like I said, the defense is insane. You can still shoot, you can still dribble the ball really well, and it just brings a lot to the table. It's the most balanced point guard build, and it's not hard to make. You don't have to make any tough decisions with it. You can also, I should mention too, the physical pie chart is super good on this. Like, you get really good speed, really good excel, really good vert, and it's so good that you don't even need to go like pure speed pie chart to have the max speed. You can go speed and vert at 6'5", and you still have like insane vertical, insane speed. You're a great lockdown build. You can move so fast with this and shoot and finish and all that stuff, and it's just a great one. I'm gonna just put it like that. No further explanation needed on the two-way slash play. It's the best point guard build in the game, in my opinion. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on the noties, all that good stuff. Like I said, if we can get this to 1,000 likes in the first 24 hours, I will bring y'all the big man builds like version of this as well. And I think it'll be really interesting to see how some of those work out, but it'll be tough. I think I might have to misconstrue some of those to like a small forward aspect, because y'all know I have this pie chart right here and I use it as a small forward. I think it's one of the best big man builds in the game, but or I could just put the stipulation of you need to be like 6'9" or like 6'10"-ish, something like that. But anyway, y'all get the deal. I'll figure that out when the time comes. So anyway, if you made it to the very end of the video, put pie chart in the comments to show your support that you made it all the way through, and just want to show your support to me. But anyway, like I said, I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties. And on that, take it easy, man. Peace.